What does it mean if you have Saturn in Cancer in your natal chart? Well, that is what I'm going to be discussing on today's video. I'm Everett Curdy, and welcome to my channel. Please consider subscribing if you're interested in content that involves astrology and spirituality, because that's what I do here. I do weekly videos on the astrology for the week, and I do general astrology, spirituality videos every week. I also do blog posts on Mondays on my website, Knowledge, Wisdom, and Me. You can check it out on the link in the About page of my channel. And then on Fridays, I publish a TikTok video that I publish on TikTok to my channel, or Facebook or Instagram, or because you're viewing this on YouTube. So, anyway, let's get into this placement, and I really want to give this the respect and the treatment that it deserves, because I have Saturn in Cancer in my natal birth chart. So, if you were born from somewhere in the 1940s when Saturn was in Cancer, and if you were born in, I think, 1974 to 76 or something like that, and then roundabout in 2004, roundabout that period, then you may have Saturn in Cancer. Now, there's a song that really comes to mind that I want to refer you to, and it's the song Walls by Barbra Streisand. I've listened to the song countless times, and I find that its message is super pertinent to the Saturn and Cancer placement. It talks about walls, physical walls, but also emotional walls, mental walls that you are building between yourself and other people. So, that's what is going on with these walls. So, the walls that you built, whatever walls that they may be, holds you back from being your true self, holds you back from, expressing your true emotions and opening up to people. That's, the real message of the song, is that physical walls are, they do exist, but what also exists is the walls that we build between people when we don't want to open up our feelings, when we don't want to receive the love and nurturing that we need. And that we want, because we're all social creatures one way or another, and we all rely on each other. We all depend on each other. We all need to have emotionally nourishing relationships between each other. And so, what can happen with those relationships is that something happens, and maybe someone does something very negative to us, hurts us, or harms us in a particular way, and then we build up walls because we find it hard to forgive that other person for what he or she did or said to us. Similarly, with that whole conversation, because it really is a very interesting thing to contemplate. So I find that song super pertinent to today. We're building more bridges and reaching across the aisle and being open and willing to connect with other people, and be, open and vulnerable, and want to draw the olive branch as opposed to build up the walls. That's actually the better way to go. And I actually have a live stream that I did, and I may link that down below, where I talk about building bridges instead of walls. So, Getting into what this placement is actually about. So, if you have this placement, then you might want to consider getting involved with real estate, where you're going around and, looking at houses and finding houses for people to stay in. Because the talent, because what is Saturn, by the way? Saturn is what you have to cultivate, what you have to master, and it's like the talent that you didn't know that you had. It is basically your purpose in life and the hard work that you will take to really find the spiritual maturity and move along that path until you get there. So I have a whole nother video that I did on the meaning of Saturn that I will link below in the description. But when it comes to this placement, so if you have Saturn in Cancer, Saturn rules Capricorn and it corresponds to the 10th house. So Saturn is your career, your reputation for putting yourself out in the world. So real estate could be a career, like the talent of providing people with a comfortable, nurturing, secure home. And doing something in service for others. So careers in home, careers involving food, because Cancer rules the breast, Cancer rules the body, it rules food, it rules what we use, what we do to basically nourish, ourselves and others. So, we can do that through food, and food is a real gateway to the soul. It warms your body, it nourishes your body and your heart. So food, any kind of profession that involves caretaking, that involves taking care of somebody else's needs, nurturing them, and doing all the things. So whatever career may that be, maybe a doctor or a nurse or whatever it is. Or maybe a therapist or counselor, where you can really get to know someone and really receive their emotional, what they're saying, their emotional expression, receiving that and then giving that back in a very nurturing, loving, open-hearted, caring way. So what this placement comes down to, the bottom line, is establishing a solid foundation beneath your feet when it comes to home and family, making the home environment a safe haven, a sanctuary. Because a really high value for Saturn in Cancer is, emotional comfort and security when it comes to the home and family relationships. So establishing a solid, nurturing, bonded relationship that you have to your home and family is going to be important here. Now, Saturn also restricts whatever it touches. It wants to put a boundary, a barrier on whatever it touches. So with Saturn in Cancer, the natives who have this placement may have a difficult time expressing their emotions and feeling their emotions, and may cut their emotions off or dismiss them as being a waste of time, immature, not accurate, not valuable, not important. And it's going to be really important for them to feel into their feelings. It's important, I'm saying we as people who have this placement, it's important to lean into the emotions, to feel them, to ride those waves. It may be uncertain, it may be uncomfortable, it may be scary, it may be challenging, and it may require us to be vulnerable. but feeling into those emotions and allowing ourselves to express and to open ourselves up to expressing those feelings is important. And I think I've really done that quite well throughout my life as I became more verbal and more expressive of my feelings. My moon is in Libra, which is about balance and harmony and connection with others, and it's an air sign. So moons and air signs need to verbalize and communicate their feelings. So I think that I have really, I'm checking off that box. Um, and so maybe a situation forces you, it comes down upon you and forces you to feel into those feelings, to lean into those feelings. So that is going to be something huge. So a difficulty with emotional expression. So people with displacement may also have had a difficult childhood. Maybe there was a difficult relationship with the mother, or maybe your parents were more strict to you. That could be a possibility. Maybe the mother was not emotionally available, or maybe she was distant, or on the other end of the spectrum, overly controlling. So that's something to consider as well, to reflect and look back upon the past about, your childhood and some of those experiences that have happened that make you the way that you are. And it may be closed, it may be not wanting to be vulnerable, it may be, again, building up that wall because of some kind of trauma or some negative experience, something like that could have come into your life as a child. So maybe your parents were super strict and super controlling, and maybe there was a message of expressing your feelings is bad, wrong, immature, not, socially acceptable, or, waste of time, or whatever the message was, basically. And so if you receive that message, then those beliefs on your feelings as being not valuable and not important, all those beliefs need to be cast aside and dismantled. So you probably had to take on a lot of responsibility in the home when it comes to family. Saturn is very weighty. It is the weight of life, the weight of reality, of responsibility, of you incarnated into this life, and you have these challenges and obstacles that you have to push yourself to work at and work through. So it is very kind of monotonous energy. That's what Saturn is. It's like a piercing knife into reality. So, responsibility. Maybe you had to raise yourself and just learn about responsibility on taking care of your emotional needs on that level, because you may feel that family and your relationship with your family isn't very strong, that they're not going to come in and help you, that you're not going to get nurturing and love, or enough nurturing and love from other people, that you're the only one to give that to yourself. And you're learning how to nurture yourself on an emotional level, and then nurture and take care of others, and leaning into the feelings of compassion and sympathy and empathy, and emotionally connecting with others and opening up your heart. Those are all the lessons that you are learning how to cultivate in this lifetime. There may be a challenge when it comes to receiving love and also nurturing. It may be very difficult to receive, like when someone is doing something nice for you, when someone is offering you an opportunity to speak your truth, or when someone is trying to care for you, nourish you, open their heart to you, open up their door to you, let you into their heart, that you are being given the keys to their heart. It may be very hard, it may be challenging to receive that love from other people. And so that is something that you are also working on as well, is, of letting others, help and nurture you on an emotional level. And so you may have had an experience in your childhood where you felt like your parents, or your siblings, or whoever was in your circle of your immediate family was not nurturing enough, did not nurture you enough. So there is this feeling of lack. So, again, your superpower that you're learning how to master in this lifetime, it's like your kryptonite that you're trying to build up immunity towards, is loving yourself. Loving yourself. Self-love. Self-love, caretaking, and, nurturing, yourself, like, doing things for self-care, whatever you define as self-care. And there's many, many things for that. Listening to music that you like, reading the books that you like, pulling oracle cards and then journaling about those oracle cards, meditation, whatever self-care, whatever you define as self-care. Maybe it's yoga or getting out of nature. That has to be a priority. You need to prioritize your bodily health, your mental and emotional well-being. Allow time for yourself, to take care of yourself, to be alone with yourself and your feelings, and to take care of yourself. So self-love, self-acceptance for what you're going through, what you're feeling, all this kind of things like that is super important. So the Saturn in Cancer is basically emotional walls. That's what the literal translation of Saturn in Cancer is in that song that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Is super pertinent to that. So can you slowly but surely, let down those walls and allow other people and nurturing and love and all of that to come into your life? So spending time alone, spending time for self-reflection and, deep introspective meditation, where you're connecting with a higher power, you can rest and replenish your energy and recharge your mind and do all of those things without the distraction, without the stimulus, without this person needing this thing from you, without all of those emotions flooding into your system. It's important to allow yourself time for that solitude and that, you being alone with yourself and getting comfortable with being with yourself, living in your own skin, being in your body, any kind of thing that can get you grounded in your body is going to be important. So there is a need to retreat, a need to pull back, a need to go into your shell, because Cancer is the crab. It may be soft and squishy inside, and it may be vulnerable, but its shell is hard and tough and firm, and it can build that up. It can build a strong outer shell. and protect itself. So it can be resilient in that way, resilient towards difficult and deep, intense, emotional experiences. And there is this need to be more private. You can be super extroverted, but there is that part of you that wants to be private and introverted. And it's really about allowing that part of you a seat at the table, allowing that shy, introspective, vulnerable part of you a seat at the table. So you can be pretty responsible when it comes to family matters. You can get yourself at the head of the family. You can be the background, because Cancer is a cardinal sign. And cardinal energy is about taking the lead. It is about initiating and being in charge. And cardinal signs are here to lead. They want to lead. So you can put yourselves at that really responsible place at the family, and you can really live a purposeful life of leading your family and being the backbone of your family and truly establishing that home and family base. And so you may be traditional when it comes to regards to family values, because Saturn is tradition. Saturn is doesn't want to stray from tradition. It is the conventional aspects of life. It is how family, how certain traditions or certain things have been done and passed down from generation to generation. Saturn is very much the past. It is the history of all the events that led up to today, that have certain significations that led us up to this moment. So Saturn is those traditions and government systems as well. But yeah. So you may be or may want to be more traditional in regards to family. So having healthy emotional relationships with family is a must with this placement. And connecting with family members on a deep emotional level is important. So you may understand tough love at a deep level. And, tough love is not the coddly kind of love. Where we really care for people and we really want the best for them. So we are willing to do certain things to make that a reality of being on somebody about something because we care for them, we care about them. So, the whole, you can open up the whole conversation about the various types of love. Tough love is still love. We're being rigorously honest with somebody. We're telling them the truth because they are worthy of hearing it, and not telling the truth and telling them exactly what they wanted to hear is a disservice to them. And it is saying to them and putting a message out there that you are weak and you're not strong enough to hear what this message is that I want to communicate to you. So you can understand love, but without the coddling, with trying to mature and make the person self-sufficient and wise and all those kind of things like that. You want them to grow spiritually. So you can also be very devoted and loyal to the people you love and family as well. And also there's a creative and artistic side to Saturn and Cancer, which need not be overlooked. So you can be incredibly creative, but that creativity may be expressed behind the curtain as opposed to you opening up the curtain and expressing that to the audience. So it's okay to express that creativity. I mean, I have Saturn in Cancer, and I'm expressing myself in creative ways through my through my YouTube channel and via these videos, and I am putting it out there. So when it comes to being creative and whatever you define as creativity, you can open up that part of yourself, and you can also embrace that part of you that wants to be creative. Um, and another thing is that you can also show your more extroverted side when you're around those people that you care about. And when you're around those that you love and those that you care about, you can be more emotionally open, more socially wanting to connect, more extroverted, more open on an emotional level. But it's important to allow yourself to open up emotionally to others, and especially the right people. Not to, because one of my beliefs with Saturn and Cancer is not to hold emotions in, because it's bad for the heart. Don't hold your feelings and emotions inside of you, but allow yourself to express those emotions, to let those out of your system, to let it off of your chest. Because when you release what no longer serves you, you find that you've gained more space for something more. You feel more relaxed, more at peace, more content. Like you can breathe when you let it off your chest. And so I'm going to let something off my chest right now. I am not going to redo the videos that I make. I do it once and I'm not going to do it again. Alright, so, and it doesn't matter what happens, I'm not going to go over it and go over the same information again. So, I've let that off my chest. And I'm not going to edit that out, by the way. So, it's, important to choose vulnerability. Choosing to be open and connect with others on that emotional level. So there may be, because Saturn's an area of insecurity and fear. It's like the work that we don't want to do to get what we want, but it's what we have to do. And it's about not repressing that work, not putting it off for another day. Well, another day, when you're going to act on that work, you might as well do it now. You might as well act on it now. You might as well take care of it and take action and choose to be here now and not put it off for another day, not put the pork in the mud off for further down the road, but then to take care of it now, to take action on the things that you need to do in order to get what you want. Because Saturn is, well, guess what? You can have what you want as long as you can work for it, and as long as you, rise above these challenges, these obstacles. And yes, I allow myself to disclose anything that I want to emotionally with you on these videos. So going back to that point there. But so there may be a fear and an insecurity around establishing a solid home and family base, that fear of what if it doesn't work out, what if this happening. Well, you can go on in your mind about the what ifs all that you want to, but it's important to take those steps to achieve that stable, emotional home and family base. And that is really something that you came in here to establish in this lifetime. So it's important to have a healthy emotional balance where you're not blocking it out. You're not blocking yourself from feeling those feelings and expressing those feelings. But you're also not overdoing your emotional expression. So that's something, Saturn is sort of the area where you're a toddler and just a baby and just an infant. There's work to do. Wherever Saturn falls in your natal chart, that shows you the karmic work that you need to do in this lifetime. It doesn't show you where you're done and where, like Jupiter is luck and growth and opportunities and abundance and all of these gifts that are, just handed to you and available to you. Saturn is where you need to put the work in. So, letting down those walls of defense, those defensive walls, and allowing nurturing and love in people to come help you, receiving advice, receiving care, and whenever someone wants to get close and understand you at an emotional level and help you at an emotional level and be there and support you and want to understand you on that level, it's important to open up to that and allow that in. And so you can either fall on one end of the spectrum. You can, moving on to another point, is look back on the past too much and be caught in the ghostlands of the past and get caught in the nostalgia of the past, of what was, and not choosing to be here in the present. Or you can go, well, you can't do anything about the past because the past is in the past. That's not where your power lies. You cannot ramp and rewire while you're going through a time machine back through the past and redo. You can't take yourself and go back there, but you can be here and you can choose to be in this moment and do what you can in this moment. You can choose to pick up yourself and pick up the sticks and the shuttles and whatever and make something happen and use the tools that you have in the now to make something happen now. So being present and being here and now is something that would be important to remember. So, and the other thing is, yes, you can be private. There's also this hypersensitivity with someone with a Saturn and Cancer. And so becoming resilient and also allowing yourself to be sensitive and vulnerable are all very important here. So that is the video on Saturn and Cancer. I hope that you found this information helpful and valuable and meaningful to you. And I will catch you on another video. Bye, everybody.